Hi, this is Katie from Crafting Ruby Dreams, and welcome back to my channel. I talk about planners, goal setting, writing, publishing, and getting right with my finances. Today is another writing advice video, and the specific topic I'm talking about is being specific. What does being specific mean? It means that you are being specific about the emotions and the emotional journeys of the characters. You are being specific about the experiences of the characters, especially making use of the five senses. So how does the character interpret the world around them? Because that is going to be another layer of characterization in how they think about what they are experiencing and how they describe what they are experiencing. Be specific about the surroundings around the characters. You could say they were in a park, or they were in a park with a lot of trees, dogs running down the paths, and joggers filling. So how can you layer in the surroundings and create a sense of place? Being specific will allow you to do that. And be specific about the events of the book, the plot, and how things happen. Draw out the fine details that, again, the characters are going to notice and pay attention to. Because, again, this is all character development as well as, frankly, plot development. And then the other thing is that you want to be specific about the appeal factors of the book. So if you are writing, say, hard science fiction, you want to be very specific about the science that you are including in the book. You want to have fans of that genre and that subgenre really latch on to what you are writing, because it is something that they read that genre and subgenre for, so they want to get what they are expecting. So what does being specific not mean? Well, it doesn't mean tedious details. You don't have to describe the thread count of the sheets of the bedroom that the characters are not in that apartment. You don't need to spend a whole lot of time talking about things that do not advance the story in any meaningful way. You don't want to be repetitious to the point of monotonous. And then the other thing is, are you focusing on things that slow the intended pace of the story? Sometimes the intended pace of the story is already slow. You don't want to slow it down even further. And things like thrillers, that's a very fast pace. So if you're throttling it back to, say, 45 on a 90-mile-per-hour through lane, that's really going to affect the experience of the reader. The whole thing about being specific is that you want to create a rich experience for the reader. And if you are not doing that, then the reader is going to set the book aside and probably forget about it, and definitely not talk about it to their friends who may also like your book. So why should you care about being specific? Well, like I just said, you want the reader to care about the story. So even if they set it down, they want to come back to it. And you want them to feel connections to the characters, to the things that they are reading your book for. Like I said earlier, the hard science fiction, they're reading it to learn more about the science and how that impacts the story. So you want to create a rich reading experience for the reader, because it's going to make it easier to market your books. You're going to be able to pull out things that you can use on social media, such as, hey, I've got here an example for my novella Grievances and Glitter. I have a rock star turned mathematician turned back to rock star hero who is in his 40s. I have a heroine who is a very successful international lawyer who is in her 30s, and it happens when they are snowbound in a remote cabin, and they had a one-night stand a year ago. So those are all within romance, very specific appeal factors, and that draws in readers to check out my story and potentially buy it. And then you're going to create characters that readers are going to care about and feel invested in. So this is going to be, again, more ways to get readers talking about your books to other people who may also be interested. And you're also just going to create a memorable experience. Last night, I was watching the replay of Cindy Gunther-Ballenflow's live plan with me. It was planners. It was about doing a bullet journal, and she was talking with her live watchers about books she had read as a child, and she had forgotten the title and the author of these books, but there were specific instances and events within the books that really stuck with her and really captured her memory, and so she was trying to identify them. But you want to create those experiences and those moments within the story that are going to stick with readers 20, 30, 40 years down the line. And those are the books that you will most often find readers talking about long after they were first published. And publishing is very much a long game, and you want people talking about your books for a long while after they have read them. And it's going to be those books that are going to stick in readers' minds, so that when somebody comes to them and says, "Hey, I know you read this type of story. I'm interested in this kind of thing. Can you tell me a book that I should maybe check out?" Like, if somebody comes to me and says they're interested in romance, they kind of like more realistic type of things to a degree, which to me codes as contemporary, but they also really like watching shows like Dancing with the Stars or Wilderness Survival. The first book I'm going to recommend is Alexis Daria's Take the Lead, because it's set on a dance competition show, like a Dancing with the Stars style competition show. It's contemporary, and it is a wonderfully specific novel about those characters' experiences and how those experiences impact their love story. So I highly recommend it if you haven't read it already and you're interested in romances. So it's a wonderful story. But again, the details and the specific experiences of the book have stuck with me. And so that's the kind of story that you want to create for your readers. That's the kind of experience that you want to create for your readers. So those are my reasons why you want to be specific and what to pay attention to when being specific. One more thing. I do want to say that in the majority of cases, your book is not broken if you do not layer in these specific things in the first draft. You can always go in and layer in even more specificity in the revision process. So don't feel like your book is broken if you haven't done this in the first draft. Just remember, you can continue going in and layering in more and more. Again, don't slow the intended pace of the story with extraneous details. But keep in mind that if there's not enough in there already, you can always layer in more. So that's it from me today. Please, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I really, truly appreciate you being here. Please consider hitting the like button so that YouTube knows to recommend this video to others. Please also hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and the bell to be notified about when future videos are available. I thank you for being here, and may all your dreams be ruby dreams. Bye-bye.